A few weeks ago on the show, I ran a skit pitching ideas for the next movie that's about people inventing things we all know and love, as seen this year in movies like Air, Tetris, and Flaming Hot. And well, just a few weeks later, here we are again. The Beanie Bubble released on Apple TV this weekend with a star-studded cast of largely comedic figures telling the origin story of the Beanie Babies craze that took over the world of the 90s. The movie has all the tick box elements that feature in every single one of these projects. There's your standard 90s montage featuring the likes of Bill Clinton, AOL, and O.J. Simpson. You have a nostalgic period soundtrack with the likes of the Cardigans, Supergrass, The Cure, and Herbie Hancock, among others. The company's achievements are exaggerated for dramatic effect as the movie attempts to claim that one of its characters essentially invented the idea of e-commerce. Nobody on the planet had thought of it before one of the characters here. You've got someone in power, as you do in all of these movies, essentially saying, you can't do this. In this case, it's the bank saying that a toy investment won't happen in the era of Reaganomics. But aside from all those really well-worn cliches, the Beanie Bubble goes somewhat its own direction. That's not to say it's original. It's very much not. It just combines different story cliches and tropes with another popular trope of the tech bro con man getting exposed that we're seeing this year and recently in projects like The Dropout, We Crashed, and Super Pumped. In this case, we look at Zach Galifianakis playing Ty Warner, but instead of seeing the story through his eyes, we instead examine him over multiple timelines through the eyes of women that he screwed over in the process, played by Sarah Snook, Elizabeth Banks, and the breakout star of the project, Geraldine Viswanathan. Viswanathan is fantastically charming in making Maya Kumar a much needed character to root for. She's scripted strongly but sells the shit out of everything she's given and gives the character a true visible hunger, ambition, and soul that these projects are so often lacking in, which again you'd see as kind of a necessity for the type of project that it is. Banks is your typically likable self as Warner's one-time wife and business partner, and while it's great to have Snook back in her first big post-Succession role as Warner squeezed later in the movie, she feels a bit limited and held back in what the script gives her compared to the irrepressible Shiv Roy. Again, it's kind of disappointing to see Sarah Snook in just being a mother and a partner. It's kind of hinted that she has a professional life, but they never go down there. She literally exists to be a foil and kind of a partner to Galifianakis. And for his part, Galifianakis plays the charismatic, eccentric, visionary conman Warner excellently as an oversharing, manipulative cult of personality. Although you could probably tell on paper that when it comes to being a natural kind of playboy womanizer, he's not a really natural fit for that the character kind of demands. So again, that was a bit awkward for me. For as much as this movie is essentially copying and pasting a lot of different elements that you know from other projects, I do have to give credit to whoever sourced this movie and whoever also marketed it to come out in this period, because we're at the moment, obviously, we're in the middle of Barbie Mania. It's an absolute craze sweeping the nation. It's odds on to perhaps end up being the biggest movie of the year. And then you have a toy-centric movie that attempts to, I don't know how successfully it's a feminist story as well, but it definitely attempts to go for those themes, and that's going to resonate when there's a lot of people hungry for exactly that. So again, whatever you think about the movie yourself, and I'm not seeing any great reviews, I am seeing some bad reviews, but whatever you think of it yourself, again, if you're hungry for those themes, this is going to fill a lot of demand there. The movie itself, for me, I thought was fine, but not spectacular. It's in no way subtle, and at times it screams the quiet parts at the top of its lungs. Galifianakis literally yells at one point, I am the child, hold me like a little boy, which is like, okay, yeah, we get it. Okay, you didn't need to say that. You're a man who makes toys for a living. We understand that you might have a somewhat damaged inner child. You don't need to yell it. But it does zip by. It's well directed. It's well paced. For me, again, I've seen some people say that this doesn't work. I do like the multiple timeline thing. I thought that kind of played well, and it was fine. And the performances at their peak are excellent, particularly Viswanathan. She absolutely bosses it, and it's a real star-making performance for her. So while you can add this to the pile of these kind of movies and then just consume it and forget about it as quickly as you did your Beanie Baby collection, while it's around, it's a perfectly fine Saturday night popcorn movie. If you're at a loss, don't go out of your way. It's not really worth kind of going to any effort whatsoever. But if you have Apple TV, if you're looking for something to watch that's going to be fine and again just completely consumable and forgettable, the Beanie Bubble, you could do a lot worse than it.